Hello, my friends. How are you? My name is Mariah. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, welcome. If you have, a very, very warm welcome back. Today, I want to talk about dreams. I've been busy for the past month or so. I haven't made any videos. Life happens, you know what I mean? But today I was like, you know what? I have some time, but I didn't have any ideas. I was like, I don't really like to post content if I don't have a decent idea of what I'm doing first. And then I was like, let's do that. So then I'll do something else. Maybe I'll do some writing. I won't do a video, whatever. And then I saw a tweet today that kind of sent me into the mind space of, yeah, I will do a video about this because I love talking about dreams. And I talk about dreams in many different ways or scenarios because I think that it's very important to understand where dreams come from. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll probably know that I like to share the story of the Gnostic goddess, the fallen Aeon Sophia, who in a dream state became our planet Earth, which is why we're all here, how we're all here, why our planet is alive and teeming with life when the planets around us aren't, and why our planet is female, and why women can actively create life in a material sense in general. So I do have videos about that if you want to see the connection between the Gnostic story of creation and dreams, because there's a very clear connection with Gaia Sophia the Aeon, coming from the galactic core and falling out of the galactic core into the realm of life experience, I guess you would call it, into the Milky Way galaxy for our purposes. And she did that in a daydream creative state. You know how you and I, as human individuals, human beings, can actively create with our imagination. That is a gift from the Aeons who created us, because they have that in a supercharged sense. And it's relevant for us to know about Sophia, the Aeon Sophia, as well as her male counterpart. They exist in male-female pairs. But the reason why I don't focus so much on the male counterpart is because Sophia fell into the Milky Way galaxy without him. And it was because she was daydreaming, creatively imagining a solution for their creation that they made together, humanity, to thrive, to survive. And that compelled her through the galactic core into the galaxy where we are, eventually becoming planet Earth. So that is the story in a nutshell. And then I flesh that out in some other videos where I talk about why it's important for us to dream and how we can create in dreams, how Sophia talks to us in dreams. But I saw a tweet today about how there's the first quantifiable and measurable, let's say, instance of dream communication between two people. Now, I didn't watch the full thing because it was kind of I don't know, maybe uncomfortable, but it was this video. I'll try to find it and post it down below. I saw, when you're scrolling through Twitter and you can see a few seconds or the video just kind of plays on mute. I watched it for a little bit. And basically, it's a 3D rendering of these two people who they're in these beds, and there's a console in between them. And then for some reason, they have this Wi-Fi pack stuck to their bellies. Interesting. And somehow a message from one person got to the other one in the dream state. Now, if you're a real dreamer, like me and many other people who are watching this, especially if you're interested in this topic, you'll know that dream communication already is a real thing. It doesn't need to be quantified, and you certainly don't need to attach a Wi-Fi router to your abdomen to contact somebody in a dream. Now, in my own experience, dream communication is fairly spontaneous. It's not something where I'm, for example, before I go to bed, I'm thinking, oh, I really want to show up in my best friend's dream tonight. You know, I don't really do that. It just doesn't really occur to me. I think of other things before I go to bed. Don't really think of putting myself in somebody's dream. Perhaps I could, perhaps that's an experiment there. But it happens spontaneously to me where I will hear from people who send me messages or a text from a friend or whatever, who let me know that I was in their dream last night. Sometimes I give Reiki to people, which I think is really funny, that I'm like, because that's my passion. Reiki and tarot and talking about things like this is really what I love to do, and it really lights me up. So I do it for free all the time, but I just think it's funny that not only am I doing it in my waking life, it's like, no, I'm doing it while I'm dreaming also. And I hope that anybody who receives that receives good energy from me. And that's kind of what I've programmed myself to do, where if you see me in a dream or a meditation or something like that, it's a good thing. I'm offering you a package of energy. Could be Reiki energy. It could be some sort of, you know, eureka moment. That's kind of what I aim to do anyways. And I have people tell me that happens. They receive Reiki from me, or they receive like a spontaneous healing. I've experienced this with my mother as well. She told me she had a lucid dream where at the time I was staying upstairs and she was downstairs because her arm hurt a lot and she couldn't sleep, so she didn't want to bother her husband. And she went downstairs, whatever. I was upstairs sleeping. And in her lucid dream, she said, I came downstairs dressed in white and I had my little pouch of crystals and I kind of went like, and on her arm, and I released like a black smoke from her arm, and she told me about it. I had no recollection. That was not something that I was experiencing. It was something that she was experiencing. And kind of once she told me about it, it was very easy for me to visualize that happening. So it's like, okay, yeah, I can see that her pain was gone. So that's, you know, that's the best part of the story, is that it actually worked. And yeah, it's just those things happen spontaneously. And I think that there are powers that be trying to make us think that they have to control it. I have a couple notes. I don't usually do notes, but today I was like, no, I'm gonna be linear with how I'm talking. Because humanity, I do believe humanity is under a psychic attack. And if you've watched my full rendition of the Fallen Goddess scenario, if you haven't watched it from me, check out John Lamb Lash and his work, because this is basically where I get it from, other than his sources and my own dreams and experiences. That essentially, when Sophia fell out of the galactic core into the Milky Way galaxy, she did so without her male counterpart, which created, I mean, that was kind of like the first anomaly, was that she was imagining a solution for humanity to thrive without her male counterpart. And so that compelled her into the experiment, into the Milky Way galaxy without him. And doing it without him, as soon as she fell out of the galactic core, she like created, and in the Gnostic text they call it an aborted fetus type of thing, basically, that she essentially had like an offshoot from her body. So like, yes, it's a part of her, but it was something that was not created in the pleroma, the galactic core, not created with intention, and not created with a male counterpart. So it's kind of like the anti-male is what she created by sheer accident, because she was just compelled. She had no real control over what was happening, because it was just, she just felt like she didn't anticipate what was going to happen, you know. And in these stories, in these Gnostic texts, it's always emphasized that Sophia is audacious and young and kind of like, I don't know, like, you know, younger girl in her early 20s is just like, let's do it, right? And then deal with the consequences later. And yeah, the consequence was creating the demiurge. Oops. The being who has a semblance of the power, the creative power of the Aeon Sophia, was not created in a male-female pairing balanced kind of way. And he is envious of humanity because humanity is like the child that was intended, and he was the bastard accident that got all fucked up and is, yeah, and yeah, there's a real envy coming from that being who can create, who can make stuff, not life, but things, and things that create fear in humanity is basically the ultimate goal of the demiurge and the archons, is to keep all humans essentially in a state of fear and anxiety and depression and things that, yes, are in the spectrums, hair bothering me, are in the spectrum for humanity to experience, because we experience spectrums, we experience bliss, we can experience, you know, real sadness, right? So his goal, and the goal of the archons, is to, sorry, I just took in a lot of air, is to keep us on that lower, for you, I guess it would look, I don't know, on the lower end of the spectrum. Let's say down here on the lower end of the spectrum, so that we're not fully awake, we're not fully aware, we're not fully in control of the reality that we do really get to play with in a sense that's like, yes, we manifest with our thoughts, we manifest with our intention, and if our thoughts and our inner vibration and how we feel, essentially our emotions, are focused on anxiety, fear, and survival, then we're not going to be on the other end of the spectrum experiencing bliss and creation and care and empathy and love and beauty, all the things that we are meant to experience. And those feelings of being on the upper end of the spectrum, let's say, of the bliss and the harmony and the relaxation and the peace, is what allows Sophia, Gaia Sophia now as our planet, to assist us. We become a match for her frequency of peace and care and love for us, that she can then work on our behalf, because we're in her dream in the first place. If the being in the Sophia dream doesn't really resonate with you, fine, that's okay, but our reality is malleable for a reason. It's because we're in the dreaming mind of our planet. I have explained that in another video that I will link below. But essentially, the creative imagination of Sophia falling, the Aeon Sophia, to become our planet Earth, caused everything to be within her dream, caused us to be her dream members. And it's like when you have a lucid dream, you know that in your lucid dream, those dream members are technically your mind. But this is what I want to talk about, is that they're not always your mind. Not everything is of your mind in those dreams, which is the same thing that we experience in reality. We are in the dreaming mind of our planet, the Aeon Sophia, Gaia Sophia, and we are technically her dream members, but there are members of sabotage that are not from this planet, don't live on this planet, can't live on this planet, because they are not in line with life and oxygen, essentially. And so they sabotage us. They sabotage humanity psychically. Like that is a real thing. I know it sounds super schizo of being like, oh yeah, there's these psychic entities that don't want humanity to thrive, but how else do you explain all the chemicals in our food, all the harmful energy that's in the air, all the electromagnetic radiation? Okay, you can just call it like, I don't know, humanity finding the cheap way to fix things, but there's some level where you can't explain it away like that there's another level of subversion, there's another level of needing humans to be in fear that we do really experience. And the biggest way to see that is just by looking at the media and the messages that they push. And yes, scary things do happen in real life, like that's true, but the news and the media and all that stuff, their aim is to focus on that and blast the messages of fear to you into your home all the time on your phone, so that you think there's nothing you can do, and two, by you focusing on it, it invites it into your life personally and also gives it more energy to expand. And that's really the goal, is to expand those frequencies of fear, of anxiety, of depression, and all of those low spectrum emotions, because the demiurge is jealous of us. Like, I find what's missing from the argument of humanity being under attack is the why. And I don't know if it's just who I am, but I always need to know why for something to really make sense to me. And the why is noted in the Gnostic story of the Aeon Sophia who became our planet. The why is that accidentally she made this being that is envious of humanity, and truly his only goal is to stop humans from having the life he thought he should have had, because he was a complete accident and we were made with intention, and we have more creative power and we have more abilities that are just so natural to us, and we are meant to be here on this planet. And he can't be here. He's separated from his mother. His mother doesn't want him and tried to send him away, but he became so envious, so jealous, that now his mission, and has been this whole time, is to take away anything from humanity. And since he can't be here, the attacks that the demiurge and the archons do are psychic. They are, again, those emotional feelings, the fear, basically the biggest thing is fear, anxiety, those things that make you feel small and that you can't do anything, that you're going to die at any moment, that your body can't carry you, that your earth can't carry you. And, that's the goal. Like, if you look at the news and you feel like that, then, kudos. Like, that's the job. And the demiurge and the archons, the people that work for them, are the problem, because the demiurge and the archons can't actually be on this planet because of their composition. So they work through humans via psychic control, via tricking them into thinking that they have power when they don't. And that's all real, like that. But that's the why as to why that actually happens. Like, if you've been down the conspiracy hole and you're like, why are these humans working against humanity? Why? It's because there is, let's call it like a bigger answer than what you're used to. Because most of us are used to the Abrahamic way of life, where there's good and then there's evil, and they're like fighting this battle all the time, and it's two dudes and one's up here and one's down there. And it's like, is there some truth to that? A little bit, but it's a very simplified version. The full story has a lot of nuance, a lot of juice, and a lot of really important information that we can use to basically combat it, and combat the humans that think that they need to be working for the demiurge and the archons to get what they really want. They will never be fulfilled, even though they think they are fulfilled with money and material items. That feeling of fulfillment never comes through the rituals that they do and the deals that they make. They are empty, and they continue the cycle of abuse. That's what they do. That's why they do it, because they're working for like a quasi power who has some like magic tricks essentially, but nothing that can match the power of the earth and the true creators of humanity, which is the Aeon Sophia and the Aeon Thelete, the male-female aeonic pair that created human life. Now, This happens in dreams. That's my next point. This happens in dreams. This doesn't just happen when you watch the news or when you're scrolling on TikTok or when you're, on Twitter. Yes, that's the entryway. That's the entryway into your psyche, but it latches onto your psyche. These emotions latch onto your psyche and you play it out in your dreams. And the dreams are another access point. If you are not protecting your space before you go to sleep, then it's very easy for these malevolent forces, the demiurge and the archons, to more than likely latch onto your Wi-Fi signal. Because I like that video where they strap the Wi-Fi onto the person. I was like, whoa, okay, whoa, I have to talk about that. They probably latch onto your Wi-Fi and get into your dreams and send you scary messages, send you attacks, send you marketing. Like that's kind of where I was gonna go with this, but I've moved away from that. But I do believe that dream marketing is a real thing, whether it's just from me looking at products when I'm on Instagram, and then in my dream I'm applying the product and feeling so beautiful, and then the next day I'm like, oh my God, I have to get that product. Does that not make sense? Would that not be the next logical step for these companies to do once they realize that they can hijack our dreams and market their products in them? Like, I don't think that's super far off base. But my point is, aside from the dream marketing, is that your dreams can be hijacked. And whether they're latching onto the Wi-Fi signal or not, if you're not protecting your home before you go to sleep nightly, at least weekly, then you're susceptible. You're susceptible to these attacks in your dreams that maybe when you wake up, you're feeling the fear, you're feeling the anxiety, those emotions that the demiurge and the archons want you to feel, because then their only goal is basically to stop you from living your best life. And your best life is much easier to get than you think, because the goddess, the Aeon Sophia, already wants it for you. She already has it for you. She's just waiting for you to not be in those states of fear and anxiety, and to relax your body, to appreciate your body, to appreciate where you are, to appreciate the earth, appreciate the air that you're breathing, which is her, so that she can deliver and you can receive at the same time. But if we're all stuck down here thinking that, the earth is working against us, that my body's working against me, that all these, fear things, then it's like she could have the world for you to give to you, but you're not in a state to receive it regardless. So you have to get into the state of receiving it, which is the frequencies of peace and harmony and balance and care for one another and empathy and honoring life and love and beauty. And, obviously easier said than done, but let's start with the dreams here. So how can you protect yourself in your dreams? Now, this is something that I've done, not nightly, I will say, obviously not every night. I don't even think, like, if you can get to the habit, great, but life happens and you forget. But I will say that I've done this more or less for the past 5-6 years. And I do know what I'm talking about, because I used to get bad juju in certain places. And then I would do things like this and it would work. And also I noticed that when I'm in a state, time period of forgetting to do these sorts of things, that's, I don't know what my cat's doing, anyways, that's when I receive attacks in my dreams, or I have anxiety dreams, or I have dreams where I'm being attacked, or somebody's going after me. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm being naughty. And so these are very simple. They're very simple things that you can do, and they really make a difference. The first thing that you're gonna do, it's not technically free, but probably a lot of you watching this already have some. If you don't, selenite is inexpensive, and you can, pissing me off. Sorry about that. Anyways, selenite. I'm sure you can get some on Amazon, and you can get it like the next day. You can go to your little crystal shop, wherever. Everybody's gonna have selenite. Pick up some selenite. If you can, get like a big one, and or like a few sticks. Sometimes they sell them in a bundle. And you're going to place them close, around, or in your entryways. Everyone. So I don't have it like right by my front door, but I have it kind of as soon as you come in. I have selenite right there. I have it on my back patio door, and I have some in my bedroom door, patio door. I don't have windows. I just have these big patio doors. And yes, I noticed that when I didn't have that, and I must have just had my selenite like at my front door, and I started to get dreams that there were all these people in my apartment, that there were people out on my balcony, like having a party, and then there were like just people, you know, and whether it's, you know, people's residual energy that have really been in my apartment, or, you know, just the fear of having random strangers in your place. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm having more than one of these dreams. There were several of just random people coming into my apartment, and like people that I didn't know. You know, it's one thing if you dream where like somebody you know is in your apartment. I don't think that's a bad thing, but complete strangers, I don't like that. So I put the selenite on all my entryways. Gone. Have not had it since. I had dreams like of like random other cats out on my balcony. You know, just weird, right? And you know, all those things aren't exactly super scary, but it's a point of anxiety for me personally to have my place, you know, broken into. And I feel like that's kind of anxiety for everybody, but I also have something that I refer to as like a structural anxiety. Like I get pretty anxious in certain places if they don't feel like a solid build. And, you know, nothing's ever happened to me before, but that's just an anxiety that I have. And so I'll often have dreams like that where it's like my own personal anxieties are the main focus of my dream. And so that the selenite was a huge one. And it was immediate. The next, like I haven't had a dream like that in a long time, you know, knock on wood. Something else is having a selenite lamp is really useful. A selenite lamp, and just leave it on while you're sleeping, or, you know, just throughout the day. Or a salt lamp. A salt lamp is also really effective at changing, like salt lamp literally changes the ions in the air. So what we're doing is changing the frequency and basically raising the frequency of your space, of your home, so that when you're going to sleep, you're not accessible to these beings that are looking to give you anxiety. Having flowers in your space, so nice, is also a really good way to combat, like it's just these things that we're doing that raise the frequency of your entire space. Having roses are a really high frequency, tangible item, and your frequency and the frequency of your space raises by just being introduced to things like this in the area. And it's not like you have to, you know, have roses everywhere. It's just this introduction of this frequency influences your space to rise to it. What else? Oh, rose water. Rose water is another one that I really, really love. I use a rose water glycerin spray for my face daily. I spray it on my face like 5-6 times a day. I love it. But straight up rose water is also really good. I've used this when I was staying at my dad's, and I don't want to like call it 100% haunted, but like there's stuff there for sure. And I would have to use rose water, and instead of, because they didn't like when I smudged or used sage, so I would just take rose water and have a little spray bottle, just spray everything, because rose is such a high frequency. It does the trick. It raises the frequency of the space so that those beings just don't have access to it. You have a choice at all times to be on another frequency where you're not accessible to these sorts of things. Oh, and then this is like my super mega trick that I do not often enough, but I used to do it when I would be falling asleep kind of scared because I'm already feeling like anxious or something, is visualizing. I know you might not be a visual person, but you can just intend or even say or write down before you go to bed. I like to visualize as I'm falling asleep because it also helps me fall asleep. But I like to visualize a pillar of white light coming from the galactic core, the Aeon Sophia's journey, her track basically, coming down to wherever I am into my space and turning all my walls, my whole space white. Everything's white, a white light. And then I also run it through my body and through my cat, through my fiance, through everybody. Nobody else. Well, if there is somebody else staying in my place, I'll run it through them too. But I'm like, it's usually just me and my fiance and my cat. So everybody gets a little dose, and then I will send it down through wherever I am into the core of the earth. If you've experienced any of my meditations before, you know that that's what I do. And there I ground it into whatever core crystal I see. Maybe it's even selenite at that time too. And then I watch the white light come all the way back up. It might be gold coming back up to the same thing all the way up to the galactic core. So what that does, again, is we're working with the frequency here. We are changing the frequency with your observation, with your involvement, with your, basically your will, essentially your will to change the frequency of everything that's around you. You can do that with the visualization. And that's something that I like to do before I go to sleep. I do it for my family members. I visualize their house being all white, and then through them, I do it for my friends. I do it for, anybody that I think of, because it's free and it doesn't hurt. It's white light. It's fine. And white light is what I use when I give people Reiki. I've had people that I don't explain that I do, I work with white light. And then they'll tell me after, and they're like, I feel like I was being blasted by white light. And I experienced the other day, actually, as I was falling asleep, I experienced, I could see it behind my eyeballs, like a white light coming down into my head, which was pretty cool. I was like, oh, I'm getting blasted with white light. That's awesome. And what else was I gonna say? Something else you can do is, depending on the deities that you may work with, if you work with the goddess, which I always recommend, the earth goddess, whatever you want to call her. I know she has bajillion names. I like to call her Gaia Sophia. You can go by Gaia, you can go Danu, you can go Kali, you can, whatever name you have for the goddess, or a specific goddess, a specific frequency of the goddess. Like Hathor, for example, I rely on Hathor a lot for protection of my home, especially at night. You can ask for their help and their assistance, and you can say, hey, what's up? Can you please assist me by holding down the fort, protecting me and my space and my loved ones 24/7, or while I'm sleeping, or outside my apartment, or at my entryways, things like that, where you get that extra level too. And the thing is, though, is you have to ask. You can ask your ancestors who love you. Be specific with the ancestors who love you, because not all your ancestors love you. Learn that the hard way. And you can ask for their assistance. You can say, hey, I'm experiencing this when I go to sleep. Could you please be on guard and protect me, and just make sure that my space continues this white light as I'm sleeping. Things like that. That's all free and easy. The visualization's free and easy. Asking for help from your ancestors who love you and the deities who love you is free and easy. Salt water is also, I know it's not 100% free, but usually people have salt in their homes. You can do salt water in a spray bottle instead of a rose water if you don't have the rose water. Selenite is not very expensive. And you can also put salt at these same entryways and your doors and things like that. What else do I do? I think that's about it. Oh, smudging, obviously. Sage. I love Palo Santo. I'm on like a huge Palo Santo kick, where I try to buy ones that are sourced ethically and they last longer anyways. But Palo Santo, like if you're really feeling anxious before you go to sleep, just smoke out your room a little bit, use some incense. But I like to suggest the other things because not everybody's in a space where they can use smoke, and I get that. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is the white light and the visualization. And if you are lucky enough to be able to be lucid and in control in your dreams rather, then you can like blast these motherfuckers that are bothering you with balls of white light. I've literally been chased before in my dreams, and I was like, in the name of the gods, and I sent it to him, and like somebody who was attacking me, gone, poof, obliterated. Because once you realize you're in control, the archons, the demiurge, those guys that are not working in your favor, they know that they don't stand a chance, which is why they push you into thinking that they're more powerful than you, that everything is scary and you should be fearful and anxious, because they need you to be there so that they can be in control of you. As soon as you're not there, you're in control of them. It's pretty easy. We don't give ourselves and the goddess and the creators of humanity enough credit for the amount of power that we have, and our earth assists us in every sense. Like she's honestly the best one to go to if you're needing any sort of assistance. Just talk to your Mother Earth. She's everybody's mother. She's the original, the OG mother, and she can help you because she wants to. She wants to, and she wants to help you. She wants to be protected and cared for. And I think that I'm making this video because it is a time to take these practices seriously, because just from seeing that tweet about, the Wi-Fi and whatever, I was like, okay, whoa. Because if we're seeing a video of that as the public, then you already know that their actual research and actually what they've been doing to humanity is light years ahead of anything that they've released publicly. That's just a fact. That's just what happens. I'm history major, hello, and I know, well, because I've looked through archives in like the freaking 1960s and 50s, and they were doing remote viewing research back then, and then stuff gets released because the people who were in charge of that are dead now. So anything that gets released to the public is either using you or it's so dated that it doesn't matter anymore, and they're using new technology that you can't even fathom. And that's why they're releasing this other information. So I would say my biggest message here, if you've watched this far, do these like protection things, because I feel like the attack on humanity's psyche, the fear in dreams, those icky feelings are going to be at a high right now. And it's simple to opt out of it. It's not when you're paying attention to the fear porn that they show in the media all the time. And it's not easy to stay out of it. But if you're feeling really anxious and fearful, then you need to stop using your phone in any way other than to just talk to your friends and family. You need to stop scrolling, put the phone away, go for a walk, literally touch grass. I'm not even joking. Go touch a freaking tree. Allow Gaia to tell you that everything's okay, and she will take care of you. I know that because I've experienced this. So let me know if you have any questions. This was kind of a longer one. I don't know. I'm always like blah, blah, blah. But let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you need any help, or if you have like a certain scenario that you want to talk to me about, because I have had dreams where I get attacked by a guy with a box cutter. And I know of two other people. One of them is a dear friend of mine who also experienced the same thing. Looks like a skinny Jesus and kind of homeless, and cuts you in dreams with a box cutter. That's a guy that's out there, and you just have to just make sure that he can't access you in the first place, because the frequency of your home and therefore you is just on a level that they can't access. And you can do that. You can do that in many, many different ways. Oils are also a good one. Anything that has a high frequency is going to influence your space and raise it with you. And that's the goal here. And yeah, like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Sending much love. I'll talk to you next time.